Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the PMG Project. It's been a while, a little over a month since the last episode, a little over a month since the first episode where I was showing you Menominee Falls and my earliest memories. Now we're taking the next step. It's a little windy today. It's been cold, that's why I haven't been out filming, but it's supposed to be like 50 today, and unfortunately it's windy. But we're in Germantown. That's the next step. And I'd have to say most of this video is going to probably take place in my car. There's a car coming. Of course I get strange looks. But anyway, this is where it all began, right behind me here. That house on Catskill Lane in Germantown happens to be for rent. It's actually a townhouse, a side-by-side. Most of my childhood, from about 83 to 90, save for about a year and a half, was right here in Germantown. So we lived here for a couple years, left for about a year and a half, lived here for another few years. And a lot of my 80s pop culture is thanks to Germantown. The year and a half we didn't live in Germantown, it was like a whole nother world. Like 80s pop culture barely existed. But in Germantown, it was all about the 80s. Hair metal, Garbage Pail Kids, Transformers, Culture Club. It's crazy. So just being here kind of gives me almost some heebie-jeebies. Like, I can't believe I'm here. The last time I've been here on this street, I wasn't even half the size I am now. It was a long time ago. Actually a few years ago, we looked at a townhome, a side-by-side here, to rent. But I mean, just sitting here talking about it, thinking about things, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but I got my coffee. Wind's kind of calm right now. Hopefully the audio turns out all right, but let's kind of take a look at this house here. All right, this was the house I lived in. I lived here first grade and half of second grade, so 6 through about 7.5-ish. Probably a little bit, it's probably closer to 2 years though. Probably started living here before first grade, I don't know, but definitely first grade. First grade, I remember half a second. Lived on the right side between the garage and there. It's for rent. Could have made an appointment to see the inside, but I don't know what side's for rent. I don't know what side's for rent, but yeah, if it would have been that one, it would have been interesting to go in there. But we looked at a townhome probably down around here a few years ago. The inside was pretty much exactly the same. But this is also the house where I got my first bike as a birthday present. It was a Huffy BMX style type bike when I was 6 or 7. Came downstairs in the basement, and there it was waiting for me. Learned to ride that bike right here on this very street. And even that way up the block, I even got hit by my first car. Fell down, scraped the shit out of my knees, down on that side of the street. But yeah, this was where it all started, and I'm going to show you a little bit more of Germantown. I'm going to show you where I went to school for first and second grade. So when we hit up the school, that doesn't sound right. We're going to do it from inside the car. Now, I haven't been... So here's the thing, there's boundary lines in Germantown. There's multiple elementary schools. Depending upon where you live, that's where you go to school. So here on Catskill, here comes a doggy. I think the dog's got a neurological disorder. Poor dog. He's kind of walking sideways with his head cocked. Keeps looking back at his owner, or she, looking back at her owner as they pass by my window right about now. Poor dog. Anyway, yeah. Dog's definitely seen some better days. Not on a leash. Good dog. That's a good dog. It's fine. Anyway, I get distracted by dogs. I'm a dog guy. So, boundary lines. So when I lived here on Catskill, I went to one school. And then right behind me is actually the boundary line. So right outside of this neighborhood is a road called Mequon Road. And Mequon Road is the boundary line. So this side of Mequon Road, I'm going to show you that school that I went to. When we moved back, we lived on the other side of Mequon Road, like just minutes, not even. It's literally right on the other, like outside of this subdivision, right on the other corner of Mequon Road. And you'll see that. I'm going to be outside for that one. And I went to another school, like literally 2 minutes between this house and the apartment that we lived in, the second go around, 2 different schools. So, but we're going to go up to, gosh, I can't even remember the name of the school I went to. County Line Elementary. It's been a while since I've been there as well. We're going to go take a look and I'm going to see how much it's changed. So it's very windy here. I'm pretty much out in the open. So hopefully everybody can hear me all right. But I'm at County Line School. I am outside. There's really nothing much to worry about. There's some houses across the street. They might be like, what the fuck? But for the most part, shape of the school kind of is the same, but they definitely added on. Let me flip this around. So like this kind of stuff is like pretty much the same, but that's newer since I've been here. That down there is all brand new. It was never that outcropped over there, but I'd have to say it probably ended. The school originally probably ended right about there. So all that, you could tell the bricks different and everything down there is all brand, well, not brand new, but new to me, but this is all original. And then the playground, I actually got a bee sting out at this playground. My car is running. I don't want to walk too far away from it. But, well, of course this playground is a lot more updated than when I went here, even though there's a jungle gym back there that looks pretty damn old. There definitely was not all this playground equipment. But there's a fence back here. There's a fence that runs along back here. And I actually lost something through that fence, and when I reached through the bottom of the fence to get the ball or whatever it was that I lost, I got stung by a bee. There was a bee in there. But maybe it's covered up, but the asphalt here used to have markings for playground games like hopscotch and foursquare. My God, foursquare. I think, is that what it's called? Foursquare? I can't remember. But for some reason that term just came to mind for the first time in decades. Foursquare. I think so. It was 4 squares with numbers in them. And you played with a rubber bouncing ball. And I definitely don't remember houses being across the street. I don't know. They don't look 35 years old. They look newer. So maybe these houses were not there. Maybe that was all field. But then again, in Menominee Falls, I didn't remember houses being across from that apartment from episode 1. However, they definitely were there. They definitely show their age. But yeah, County Line Elementary School on the south side of Mequon Road in Germantown, almost into Menominee Falls. Basically went from Menominee Falls to Germantown. Then, as I said, left Germantown for about 1.5 years. That's going to be another video, another story for another time. And hopefully that video will be a good video. I'm hoping it's going to be better than what's planned. I mean, I've got a plan, but there's a big piece of it that's going to be huge. I'm hoping I can get in. to a building for that video. But anyway, and then came back to Germantown for about another 4 years, 4th through 7th grade, before leaving and making our way back to Whitefish Bay. Now, each decade, the 80s and the 90s, kind of had their own way of impacting me. The 80s was more about the pop culture of the decade that has stuck with me to this very day, whereas 90s was all about the music, grunge music, the transition from 80s pop and punk and hair metal to grunge and even into post-grunge. Not so much about the pop culture of the 90s. Wasn't too much into the pop culture of the 90s. The other thing I want to point out about Germantown, and we might see some other buildings that are kind of like that as well. But in Germantown back in the day, everything that was built had to be brown or some kind of shade of brown, and then have like brown lines going through the architecture. Maybe something about some kind of German chalet design. I don't know what the term is. I don't know what the terminology is. Even some houses will be brown with like brown crisscrossing wood designs on the outside. I don't know what that, there's got to be a term for it, more proper term. I don't know what it is. But Germantown is all about German heritage. They even have a German flag flying, I think, at City Hall, Village Hall, Town Hall, police station, something like that. But everything. Even when a brand new pick and save opened up when I was a kid out here, it said Willkommen on the pick and save. So a lot of stuff kind of architecturally had to look alike. A lot of businesses that are still standing to this day still have that architecture. I'm going to show you some of that stuff. As we move along, it's going to be the other side of Mequon Road, where a little bit more of my memories are shaped and formed there. Of course, being in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, you know, you start to remember things. They start to stick with you a little bit longer. So we're going to head on over there now. All right, so here we are on the other side of Mequon Road. Right behind me at that intersection there, that's Mequon Road. And so right back there, through all those apartments, is the other townhouse I lived in that I showed you on the other side of Mequon Road. So pretty close. It's really windy here. It's like the further out I get, the more windy it gets. So if the audio in this video ends up sucking, I apologize, but that's the apartment I lived in. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, right there. And as you can see, there's a Walgreens there. That Walgreens wasn't there when I lived here. It was a field. That's where I took my childhood dog to take a shit. And you can see, if you look at it, look at the architecture. It looks like some kind of German chalet type thing that I was telling you about. It's brown. It's got like a tower with like a steeple on it. And it's got the crisscrossing brown lines. That's what I was talking about. The apartments back there as well have the same lines. The bank next door, doesn't have the brown lines, but it's brown. That bank's been there forever. That's where we did our banking. But yes, this apartment building right here is where I lived, and boy, it is blowing. So you see this building next door, again, brown, with the brown lines and shit. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna see if I can try to find some place where the wind's not blowing too hard and I don't look like a moron. Oh my gosh, it's brisk. So that's what I'm talking about. This wasn't there when I lived here either. Now, see that window right there? That was my bedroom. I lived up there, second floor, apartment number 8. Apparently that apartment, after we moved out, was broken into or something. It would have been right around the time that I was home from school by myself, I believe. And there was an intruder. So it is now, the apartment building now has a locked lobby. It didn't have that before. But this was a house. Not a business with a giant parking lot. There was a house on this property. And there was a man that lived there. And I want to say his name was Roy, but I could be mistaken. And he ran a barber shop in what was basically a converted indoor porch. And I used to get my hair cut here. I don't know if it was Roy. That comes to mind. I don't know. Older guy. The house was here for a while. House turned into some other kind of business, and then eventually it got torn down and this was built. But yes, Roy used to cut my hair. Right on the other side of this building is a gas station where I used to pick up garbage pail kid cards and buy my dad packs of cigarettes back when you could buy cigarettes as a child in a gas station and nobody gave a shit. Here's a closer look at that Walgreens with the steeple and those apartments that I was talking about with that architectural design as well. You can see it's got those brown lines there, but yes. And used to take my dog to take a shit there. It was a wide open field. It was good to play in as a kid, as was this yard. And I remember one time in winter, I was out here playing, and this slab of concrete was not there when I lived here. But it was snowing. Snow was pretty deep, and I decided just to lay in it and just chill out. And a car stopped, and somebody got out thinking I was dead. I was not. I was just a child laying in the snow. But yes, this top corner apartment, like I said, that was my bedroom. Me and a babysitter conjured a ghost named Steve in this apartment building. That was when I first realized that I had some kind of little paranormal thing going on with me. And dead people was right here in this apartment building. Apartment building number 8 on Francis Drive in Germantown. Had a lot of friends that lived here as well. And yes, it was a legitimate ghost. I'm not kidding you. It was a legitimate ghost. Conjured it with a Ouija board. And some weird ass shit started happening. Shadows, things with flames, and she never came back to babysit after that. Had a lot of friends over here. Over here in this apartment building was a kid named Danny. And I still remember Danny's last name. That fucker stole some of my Nintendo games. I borrowed them to him, lent them to him, and tried to get them back one day. And, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't got them. I don't know what you're talking about. All that kind of bullshit. His mom even was just like, get out of here. His mom let him steal those games. Anyway, I digress. He ended up moving, took my games with him. Danny, I still remember your last name, Danny. I should look your ass up. Over here, I had some kids playing tricks on me right behind or in front of one of those trees. Now, that tree doesn't look much bigger than it did. I don't know, maybe that's a newer tree, but the whole thing where like you put in a trance and they pour water on you and you're supposed to believe that they're peeing on you or something, that kind of shit happened. And then back here, there's that gas station. Back here, there was a kid and I would play back here. Lawn jarts. I don't remember the kid's name, but lawn jarts. And there was an incident right back here where he tossed one up in the air, but instead of flinging it forward, it went straight up and straight down and hit him in the head. He cried. I looked at his head. I'm like, everything's fine. He started laughing, laughed it off. He did it again, same result. But the second time, he thought he was fine. because he was fine the first time. So he starts laughing it off. And while he's sitting there laughing, blood starts gushing down the front of his head and the side. He was not fine the second time. Wasn't too long after that, lawn jarts were banned because of other incidents that happened just the same as that. His parents weren't happy, but what are you going to do? Nobody really knew the dangers that lawn jarts posed upon the youngsters. So he had some stitches. Didn't really play with him that much after that. I don't think his parents really liked me that much. I also knew somebody that lived in an apartment right there. And in that apartment there is where I was first introduced to the band Megadeth. So what we're going to do is we're going to, this was my bus stop too, by the way, when I decided to take the bus to school. The school's not that far. Sometimes I walked. But we're going to go to the end of the street. There used to be a ravine with some water and some train tracks. I'm going to see what that looks like now. That's where I used to play when I was a kid. Let's go check it out. So as I drive through here in my car, none of these buildings were back here. This was all field. And like I said, there was a ravine with some train tracks, which I can see. It looks like the ravine is still back there, but surrounded by all these apartments now. None of these existed. This again was kind of like swampy, marshy fields. And I don't even know where the railroad tracks, oh there's a little hump back there where the railroad tracks actually come out. Oh, well, look at this. This never existed. This street never existed. I'm going to turn around here. Visitor. You know, some of these look like maybe they did exist, and maybe some of the buildings are old. No, I don't think they did. 'Cause I don't recognize the street coming out to. That was Pilgrim Road. Mequon Road. We were on Pilgrim. That's what the Walgreens and the apartment building and all that. Where the old haircut. That was Pilgrim Road. Mequon Road. Over here to the left. I don't remember a street coming out to Mequon. And I know that because right at the corner, right in here is like an island, like a patch of island grass. And there was an old dilapidated building. It was vacant. It was the haunted house of Germantown. Well, the fake haunted house one. There was actually a real haunted house in Germantown. It was in a book, which we'll get to. And we used to have to go through the fields and cross the street to get there, or just walk along Mequon Road to get there. This road did not exist. None of this existed. So there's no good way, I don't think, to access the ravine that should still maybe have water in it and the train tracks. And sometimes I'd even, walk back here, get on the train tracks and walk closer to my school because they kind of went up to the school. This, looking straight ahead here, is more or less like how the area looked right here. All that weed and brush and grass. Oh, it says authorized parking. I can see the train tracks. There it is. It's still there. It is still there, but now it serves a purpose. It is now something for these residents to look at. I went out on that ice plenty of times when I was a child, but the train tracks are right back here as well. And it should still continue this way. Yep. And that's continues here and it ends here. Right there. Yeah, but all these apartments, they were not here at the time. But yep, I would end up hitting up those train tracks. There's a way to get to them even when that's not frozen over. All this is brand spanking, well, not brand spanking new. It's new to me. New to me. I used to put coins on those train tracks and then come back the next day and see them all flattened out. It was kind of cool. All right, so we're gonna go across the street. We're gonna go hit up the other school yet. We're gonna cross the street and give you the history of the shopping center that's over there. Very interesting stories to tell. All right, so now we're across the street from the apartment, across the street from the Pilgrim Road. I was gonna get out. I'm like in a pretty good centralized location in this parking lot. I was gonna get out, kind of do like a 360, but it's so windy, the flag, look at that. The flag is just, it's practically, you know, I mean, it's not stiff, but it might as well be. It is super fucking windy. So anyway, as you can see, as this guy is like crossing in front of my car on purpose. Right there's that like steeple of the Walgreens. My car is shaking violently in the wind. So you can picture the apartment building that I lived on in the corner is right on the other side of the Walgreens, right? So I would come across the street, walk through the field, and right into this shopping mall here. But this shopping mall looks nothing like it used to. Nothing like it used to at all. So there's a grocery store called Sendik's that's at the end. That was a grocery store. It always was a grocery store. It was like a mom and pop owned little local grocery store. It could have been a Piggly Wiggly or something like that, but I don't think it was. I don't remember what it was called. Maybe it was called Jerry's or something. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. So that was the grocery store, and I had a distant relative that actually worked there as well. And inside that grocery store, they had like a little eatery area, and they used to serve slush puppies. And that's where I would get my slush puppies. Now, at the end of the grocery store is where the mall part of it would kind of begin, okay? And there would be an entrance, and over here was like, so over here you had all the front of the stores, right? And you could access the front of the stores by the front doors. None of these existed. The facade is completely different. And you could access them, or you could go inside the mall part of the mall, and it would have like an inside, like a main area inside that you could walk through, right down the middle. And then you would have these stores that are in the front on this side. And then there was also stores in the back, but you couldn't access those stores from the outside. You could only access those stores from the inside of the mall. So it was a very interesting setup that it had. But there was like a video store, like where this vapor shop is now, or the whatever. That was probably like I think that was like where the pharmacy was. There was a pharmacy there. And then at the end, where you see Pet Supplies Plus, that was a variety store called Schultz's. I don't know how else to say what kind of store it was. Maybe back in the day it could have been considered a five and dime, even though it wasn't, but it was a variety store. So it had all kinds of things. It was like a grocery store, but also not. Like, it didn't have frozen stuff, but it had dry foods, but then it also had like toys and books, and you could, you know, buy movies there and stuff like that. It was a variety store. They also had Garbage Pail Kids there as well. And right where there's like that, it's like a gray, there was an entrance to the mall there too. It looks like there still could be an entrance. Like, maybe this still does have an inside, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But you could go in there and you could be right in between Schultz's and the rest of the mall. And it was kind of cool in there too. Maybe it says shops inside. I think we're gonna go inside. I have never been in here since they redid all this. Yeah, let's go take a look-see. It's actually really nice to be able to record inside, but this is where Schultz's would be, and even though this has been redone, the stairs and this ramp were there. It's crazy. These were there, you know, like 35 years ago or whatever, but this, it was a little bit more widely open, and the actual door to Schultz's was a little farther back, it seems. It was a little farther back. I'm not sure. Yeah, because there's like a wall in here that like it ends. So Pet Supplies Plus is beyond this wall. This is a salon. So this salon, where it says Hair and Gallery, that's probably more or less where the door, the entrance to Schultz's variety store was. And I used to just, and so this was all wide open here, all the way up to the stairs, and I used to just hang out here. I used to just sometimes sit out here and just chill when I didn't want to be at home. But this, that was all wide open, all the way straight down, like I said, to the other entrance. And then you had stores on that side, and you had stores on that side. And now this is a fitness center. And I don't want to record the fitness center, so, but yeah, it used to be wide open down here. And you had stores on both sides, but now it's all blocked off. But as far as Schultz's goes, no trespassing, keep out, no loitering. As far as Schultz's goes, because they had like this back door, and there was nobody ever at the back door, I'm gonna be honest with you, I walked out of there with a 5-finger discount plenty of times. I'm ashamed to say it, but I did. I stole stuff from Schultz's. So arrest me now, but it was easy to do. You just walked in, went to the toys, and walked back out the back door. That's it. Garbage Pail Kids, not so much. Those were on the front counter outside. Now here's another thing that I could safely shoot from in here. See this McDonald's? That McDonald's, which is also built like it belongs in Germantown, was not here. We did not have a McDonald's. In fact, that part of the parking lot, every summer, a carnival would pop up there. Rides, games, food, all that kind of stuff. And I could see it operating from my bedroom window. And I would watch the Ferris wheel spin around and the Gravitron turning. Well, I don't remember if the Gravitron shows like it's turning from the outside, but you know what I'm saying. Any of those rides that move, I'd watch them. I'd watch the lights flash. Could hear the Metallica blaring, stuff like that. I'm gonna try to go outside. Can't go out those doors. There we go. Now, of course, I don't remember the ramps or anything here, but this is where that salon is, and that's where the salon ends. And then this is where Pet Supplies starts. It's about the same size as it used to be. Probably a little bit bigger. Oh, there's a Pizza Hut and stuff here too now. That wasn't there. But yeah, it took up almost the whole building. I don't think this is new. But I had some friends. I have a friend that lived on the other side through here. No, I had more than one friend. But my best friend Sean, who I introduced you to, who lived in Menominee Falls, and we took a shit on the stairs at that apartment building, he ended up moving to Germantown right through here. So we again, for years, remained living pretty much nearby. Luckily we could ride our bikes to hang out. But we would often come right through here and hit up the mall. But yeah, that McDonald's was not there. That McDonald's was not there. And then we had the carnival. I remember one year the carnival stopped showing up. Probably the last year we lived out here. It never showed up. That was probably the end of it. But it was kind of cool. It's kind of cool to have that kind of shit right across the street. As a kid, had a carnival every year, the mall, where you'd steal shit. But anyway, I'll take you over to where Sean lived right now. It's getting kind of windy, so we're gonna just head right on over there. I'm gonna get a coffee. Okay, so I'm at the apartment complex of where Sean lived, and I don't want to stay here very long. This was kind of known back in the day as low-income housing, and it still looks like it is low-income housing. Almost like the projects of Germantown, if you will. And it also said private property, no trespassing, and I'm probably in somebody's parking space, but Sean lived right here down in the corner where it says 104. That's where Sean lived. There used to be a playground here for us to play on, but it's not there anymore. And back there in the woods, Sean and I built a fort, a tree fort. The good tree fort trees back there. But I'm going to start backing out of here and kind of filming. And as it turns out, this used to be a dead end back here, but it's not anymore. They actually have a street. So where I came from the shopping center, I could have actually taken a different way. But we used to play in and around these garages all the time, hide and seek and all that. I kissed my first like real kiss of a female type in Sean's apartment back there. But I had a friend named Heather that lived over here, and actually I hid out at her house. I was supposed to go to summer school one day. Only time I went to summer school. And on day one, I escaped. They were picking us up from Germantown at the middle school I went to, driving us into Milwaukee, going to a city of Milwaukee school for summer school, which was, that was hard. It was hard going from Germantown school to a Milwaukee public school, which I had already been in Milwaukee public school for a year and a half. That's the year and a half I was missing from Germantown. But I escaped the middle school and came and hid out at Heather's here, and I think Sean's parents actually gave me up because they knew I was there. I had some other friends that lived here. My first girlfriend, if you will, actually lived right above Sean back there as well. Her name was Kirsten. And I had a little something for Kirsten. If you want to call it a girlfriend, you know, elementary school. But I mean, we went out, we went to movies, we hung out, and this used to be a dead end here, right here. And so we would skateboard at the end of this, right here. It would stop. This was it. This was the end of the road. There was trees and shit. But not anymore. Now it just keeps right on going. But we used to set up skateboard ramps and skate and everything. So it seems as if I could have just came around here, because the shopping center is right in here. I could have came through here now to get here. This, all new to me, as they say, new to me. Condos, a life church, more condos. Now this street here, Squire, did exist. The street that's running perpendicular, that did exist. But this street that I'm on now, which is an extension of Sylvan, did not. None of that over there that we just saw existed. Now, as you can see, some of the older places, like I said, they have that brown or that shade of brown back here. That was like a Germantown thing. So we are in I almost bought a condo here. These are condos. Almost bought one a few years ago. Lake Park condos. Had some friends that lived here as well. So my friend Kyle and I used to trade garbage pail kids and play video games right here in these condos. Now over here, that used to be a dairy. We got some lumber and hardware. I see ya. No, the dairy's over here. Lumber and hardware is brand new, but even that is built with the brown and all that shit. It's making our way down this way. Got some interesting things that have changed. This used to be a daycare. Now it's pet supplies. Here's an entrance to those apartments. We got a restaurant. Here's where the railroad tracks would come out here. And this, I want to show you over here. This is a place called the Barley Pop Restaurant and Pub. And there's the dairy. Gales, G-E-H-L-S. I'm assuming it still is Gales. I'm not sure. But look at that. Look at that old-fashioned bank. Citizens Bank. They don't make buildings like that. Anymore. I'm getting carried away. We'll talk about that dairy in a second. Barley Pop. That has been there probably since before I was born. And by extension, right here, this was the place to go living out here. If you're a kid riding your bike or walking, that they had some arcade games in here. Not that many, like maybe 2 or 3. But if you wanted to play the arcade, this is where you went. 2 or 3 arcade games. Didn't go in there often. It's still a bar. So just walking in as a kid into a bar was kind of awkward. But it was the only place in town that had any arcade machines. Gale Dairy. I think the most famous thing that they probably make is nacho cheese. So there's a good chance that the nacho cheese that you're eating at a stadium or an arena probably came from here. At least here locally, we definitely use it, and I've seen it elsewhere around the Midwest being used. G-E-H-L. Their nacho cheese is so popular that they started selling the actual bags in grocery stores. You can buy their bags here in grocery stores because that was their popular product. So right at the end of the street here, I'm going to show you something else. So we're going to just take a ride. Let's see if this is still Gale's. Yeah, Gale Foods. It's called Gale Foods now, not Gale Dairy. Yeah, I used to ride my bike all up and down here. Here's more of those railroad tracks. Now up here at the end of the street, the big boy. The big boy is back in Wisconsin. Let's see if I can get out here. Find a place to park the car. People, you're all going the wrong way. Fuck. They're all going out the entrance. Jesus Christ. Freaking Wisconsin ass drivers. So this used to be called Jerry's Old Town Inn. And they were kind of like a steak and barbecue place. Very nice place back in the day. And it has now become a big boy. Wisconsin big boy. The big boy is back after a decades-long hiatus. Look at that. There he is in all his glory. The big boy. Now, the history of the big boy here in Wisconsin is it was a Bob's Big Boy. And then the Marcus Corporation bought some of the remaining restaurants and it became Mark's Big Boy. M-A-R-C Big Boy. And eventually they all closed. But a guy by the name of Chaz Hastings, who seems to like to buy up restaurants and open up restaurants, and then the restaurants end up closing or somebody else buys them. I do have a history with Chaz Hastings. He started owning a Harley dealership in Milwaukee and decided to expand into restaurants. He hasn't been very successful with restaurants and bars and stuff like that. Kind of known to have his wait staff dress questionably in his establishments. Probably not in here though. Probably not in this big boy restaurant. But nonetheless, I investigated 2 of his places, supposedly being haunted. One wasn't. It had a rat problem. The other one, I'd have to say it was haunted. So Chaz Hastings bought Jerry's Old Town Inn, ran it as Jerry's Old Town Inn for quite a while, until he decided he wanted to start up Big Boy again. So this is location number 1. There's a plan for a second location, and I should go in and get a Big Boy while I'm here. I haven't had a Big Boy since I was a kid. Man, I should go in and get a Big Boy. But I got my heart set on something else, so I shall return. I shall return some other time, Big Boy. You are a big boy. You're a big boy. All right, so just around the corner and down the street from the Big Boy is Macarthur Elementary School. This is where I went to school in 4th and 5th grade, and this is completely different. There's like nothing about this, really, for the most part, that is the same. It was built basically where you see this entrance number 1 here. This was an old schoolhouse, and they actually still had used it for classrooms. You would walk into that portion of the old schoolhouse and like the floors felt hollow. It smelled musty. I mean, it was legit. And basically then they just built wings off of that schoolhouse. That was there. That wing existed. This entrance and this wing, all brand new. This was basically still parking lot, drivable area right here. That's new. Well, new to me, as I would say, new to me. All of this, what the hell? You could go through here. Yeah, man, this is huge now. This wasn't here. This was all wide open. You could like just drive through here. There's a gate that's open. I'm gonna take it. This is the new library. Well, new to me. Well, this looks new. This literally looks just years old. This was all, you could play on this all back in the day. This was all wide open. This was a big, wide open playground. Wow. It is crazy. All right, so some of the concrete of the old playground still exists, but you could take what you see here, all this concrete, and you could basically double it. It went where we just came from, all the way through here. This is all new. That wing, not. In fact, 2 of my classes, 4th and 5th grade, are right in here, right in this wing. 4th and 5th grade. That was either like the choir room or the art room, or maybe it was both. Maybe it was doubled as both. And then 5th grade classroom was right here. 4th grade classroom was right in here. 4th and 5th grade. And my 5th grade teacher, Mr. Spiegel, he didn't like me too much. I wouldn't say I was like a really big troublemaker, but, you know, I got into enough trouble that he didn't like me, I didn't like him. In fact, I lost out on a couple field trips because of my behavior, so to speak. It was probably just I wasn't completing assignments or something, but I don't know. And then I went to middle school, and he followed me there. He became the vice principal of the middle school, which I'm going to take you at next. That's where we're going next, the middle school. But yeah, most of all this didn't exist. It was literally the old schoolhouse with a couple of wings coming off of it, and that was it. Those couple wings were good for 1st through 5th grade. And then some extra classrooms and a cafeteria. I don't know if I can get out that way, but yeah, this playground's all brand new to me. Actually, a lot of it looks brand new. Doesn't look that old at all. So this school got like a big overhaul recently. A lot of this looks new. A lot of it looks very recent. Very recent. not gonna lie, I think I'm driving on a sidewalk here. I think I am on the sidewalk. I am on the sidewalk. Let's go ahead and get off the sidewalk. It looked like it was a driveway. Oh, there's no school tomorrow. It's gonna be like they're going to come in tomorrow and they're gonna see tire tracks. That legit looked like it just kept going. Can't blame me. All right, so I have the car window open because now I'm starting to get a little warm in the car. Not being able to go out. I mean, I can go out, but it is getting windier as the day goes on, and I'm drinking a hot coffee from Quick Trip. So I'm getting a little warm, but I'm parked kind of like in a triangle of some things I want to show you. The middle school, where I played Little League, and also around where I played Little League, where I was in Cub Scouts, both of which I quit. And then the Gale dairy is right behind us as well. So it's kind of like a triangle thing going on. But here's the middle school. The front of it hasn't really changed. Look at that. I mean, it's nearly stiff, that flag. It is very erect right now, but a flappy erect. So the front of the middle school hasn't really changed all that much. I didn't do very well at this middle school. The 2 years here were very rough, but this is where we would wait. Right here at the front door for summer school, and the short bus would come and pick us up and take us into the, well, it was semi-questionable back then area of Milwaukee. It is a little bit more semi-questionable now, but it was awful. When I did, so I missed that first day, but when I did go that second day, it was awful. It was an awful experience, and you know, not that my grades probably improved, because they didn't. I'm sure they didn't improve much, but I never went back to summer school. Never had to go back to summer school. I think I fixed myself enough to not ever have that experience again. But it's also a little weird that you go to summer school in Germantown, made the kids go to Milwaukee. I mean, it's not the inner city Milwaukee, but it's still a big, old, stinky, sweaty in the summer, no air conditioning school, and even the teachers there during summer school didn't give a shit. I was actually smarter during summer school. I mean, I was smarter than everybody there. I mean, I got my work done. I got it done early. The teachers let me color. They let me have an activity book because I had nothing to do, because I was actually too good for the work that they were giving the students. This park over here is where I played Little League. Well, for a while, I ended up dropping out. Because I didn't like the position that they gave me. So, yeah. And then through here, there's also a building where I'd had done my Cub Scouts, which I also, well, maybe it wasn't my choice per se, but there were times where I missed the, what were they, meetings? I don't know what they were called. Once a week, Cub Scouts, the troops get together and have meetings or whatever. And I would miss one or two, and they still made us bring a new week's dues and past dues, even if you weren't there. And I was like, fuck that shit. Well, I didn't say fuck that shit. I was like 9. But yeah, it didn't go over well. It didn't make somebody happy, but I stopped going. I didn't see, I know I felt in me, I didn't see a value in paying for something that you weren't using. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure my parents felt the same way, because yeah, Cub Scouts was not fun. Baseball was, but I didn't want to play the outfield. And that's what they made me play. So we're gonna take a little drive ski. The building has changed a little bit. Not as drastically as Macarthur. That was the most drastic. Macarthur Elementary School had the most drastic change. And then County Line a little bit The middle school, not a whole lot, but it has changed enough. There aren't a lot of new additions. Most of the new additions I found are on the other side. But over here, this used to be a little bit more wide open. I don't think that this was here. I think these are brand new baseball field, or at least new to me. But I know that this didn't exist because I used to do archery for gym over here, and there was no fencing and stuff. This was always wide open. That's where we did soccer. And this is also where I discovered like these weird fungus spores. Man, they still have not paved the track. The track is still gravel to this day. Running on that gravel sucked. But there used to be like these fungal spores that we would find on the field, and they were like these little puffy things, and you would squeeze them and it would just blow out this smoke of spores. And they were like cool as fuck. They were like so cool. And every now and then when I think about Germantown and going to school out here, that's one of the main things that I still think about are these fungal spores. Yeah, but this was all here. This side of the building was all here. It's one thing I did notice. These schools have a shit ton of cameras all over the buildings. Now, I don't remember this driveway being here. I remember this being field all the way up to the houses, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. You know how memories are. Yeah, I don't think right now those like spore things would be, I don't think I'd find them right now. I don't honestly remember if they were like a spring or fall thing, but I might just have to come out here and see if that's still a thing. I don't know where they came from. I don't know what they are. So we're gonna drive through and drive around. We got one more stop to make after this. Kind of, whereas Menominee Falls was like a giant circle, crisscrossing within a giant circle, this was pretty much straightforward. From beginning to end, it was pretty straightforward. So as we circle around here, and like I said, here's the park and where I did Little League and everything. There's the Gale factory straight up there with those silos. Now as I come back here, this where it's outcropped is new to me. That's a little newer. And you know, when we came here to middle school, there was no recess, so there was no playground. However, as you can see, like more in here where the blue is, and that blue entranceway, basically that was there, and then where outcrops there, that was the end of the school, and then it went straight to the street where we were. So this all in here is new to me. This was all grass field. So when we would have a break, it wasn't recess, we get 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the afternoon to just go out. This is where we go out. It was a patch of grass. There was a door that was part of that old wall there that kept going to the street, and you just go out that door. So this is the only thing that's new. And you know, maybe the architecture around some of the entrances are brand new as well there. But this is the only part that wasn't in existence when I went here. Door number 9, door number 9, door number 9. So who wants to go see a haunted house? Okay, so maybe I got a little carried away when I said you guys want to see a haunted house. I can't really show you the haunted house. And the reason being is we're on some back country road that's very narrow, no place to park. I'm actually like halfway in a ditch with my hazards on. And the house is actually at the back of a long driveway. So I can show you, I'm going to show you the area. I'm not going to tell you exactly where it is. But if I tell you a little bit about the story, behind it. It's not hard. It's not hard to find the road that it's on, but knowing which house it is, you're never going to know. But anyway, well, you might. There's a giveaway, and you're going to see it. You're going to see it. So that's why I'm not going to tell you exactly where it is. But there was a time in my life when all I did was read ghost books. And it was one of the things I liked doing was going to the library and trying to find some new book on ghosts. I read a lot of paranormal stuff when I was in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, whatever. I don't know if that started, I think that might have started after the whole seance thing that in the apartment building. So anyway, I'm going to take my hat off. Whew, it's getting toasty. So anyway, one book, I don't know if it was ghost stories that took place in Wisconsin. I don't know if it was ghost stories nationally, just whatever, maybe just underground. You know, maybe it wasn't in the same book as, say, like a Winchester house. But the book had a story called The Haunted Mary Booth Farm or something of that nature. I'm sure the story exists. I'm sure you can look it up. Mary Booth Farm, Germantown, Wisconsin. And the abridged version of the story is that most of the family had passed away probably 100 years ago at this point or something. And behind the house in the woods was the family plot where they're all buried. Most of them, not all of them. So eventually over time, things were reported in that house by people that lived there. Steps, hearing steps above your head, steps going up and down stairs, candle flames going up and dimming, piano playing, seeing the spectral vision of a young woman in a what appeared to be the type of dress you would wear at the time for going out on a date. She's the daughter of Mary Booth, which my understanding was there was Mary Booth, the mother, and then Mary, the daughter. And Mary, the daughter, and I could be wrong, look it up. I'm not 110% sure anymore. But the daughter was basically pacing, you'd see her ghostly light pacing in the front yard, going back and forth, waiting for the lover that jilted her for the dance that night, or, you know, something like, you know how those stories go. Seeing, you know, ghostly faces in windows and stuff like that. So it was in a book, and living in Germantown and reading that, it was like completely mind-blowing. It's like, where the fuck is this house? And as you get older, you kind of notice things. Somebody said that when I was still a kid, couldn't drive yet, somebody said, oh yeah, I know where that house is. It's got like a chain that goes over the driveway on a particular road. And it's like, oh, okay. So the road, oh. The road has a very particular name, and I never knew where that road was growing up. But eventually when I could drive and I started kind of just meandering around Germantown looking for things to do, being a young and stupid teenager, I came upon the road. And I'm like, holy shit, that haunted house is on this road. And so you're talking at this point, it'd probably been like a solid 6 or 7 years since I heard about the chain going over the driveway on this road. So me and my friends, it was at night, turned down the road, sure as shit, we found a driveway with a chain going across it. Now, it's not there anymore. The chain is not there anymore. And this is the first time I've been here in winter, so you can kind of see down the driveway a little bit better. Still, you cannot see the house very well. I'm going to do a slow, creepy crawl by the house, and you'll see that there's a particular sign there. It used to be the chain was there and it said no trespassing, and so that fits. I mean, who would live in a house and get out of their car and unhook a chain, drive through the chain, stop, get back out, hook the chain back up, and then go into the house? Like, it just fits. And trust me, the name of the road, it fits. Everything fits. So it is a legit haunted house that has been, whose story has been published, Mary Booth Farm, The Haunting of. We're gonna do a slow drive-by right now. This is it. So you can see that it's kind of farmland. There is a sign. It says slow. And there's a house in there. There's a house back there, or some kind of barn or some kind of structure, but I think the house goes back way back there. But there is like a structure here. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's where like kids used to wait for a school bus. It looks really old. It looks like a real tiny barn. But yeah, it's back there. It's back there somewhere a ways. That is where the haunted Mary Booth Farm. Maybe it's not haunted anymore. Who knows? That's where it is. Right back in here. Published. Look it up. Mary Booth, Germantown. So as we leave Germantown for this episode, there's one last stop right at this dead end behind me here. And this dead end is still a dead end to this day. Back through this dead end is where the railroad track would come out. It actually ends up crossing like right in front of this building here. Railroad track would come out. I'd go through this dead end, hit up that railroad track and follow it to that like quarry area where those apartments are now, where the water is. Walk that railroad track to the street where I lived. From school, from Macarthur, which is right there across the street. So right through there, right back there, that still is a dead end. That still exists. But it's snowy now. I'm not gonna like crawl back there or go back there or anything, but it looks like there's still a path. There's some footprints in the snow there. Oh, there is one more thing. There is one more thing that I wanted to get when I was on my way out of town. It wasn't part of the plan, but I saw it and I'm like, I gotta videotape this too for posterity. What you see in front of you is Minuteman Press. This used to be, back in the day in Wisconsin, at least in our areas, we used to have something called a PDQ, which stands for pretty darn quick, I'm sure, but to everybody else, it's pretty damn quick. They were like tiny little supermarkets, and they also had some convenience store gas stations that have since become quick trips out here. But PDQ stores used to be a thing, and this was the grocery store that I used to ride my bike to when I was 6 or 7, when I lived in that side-by-side townhome on Catskill. It was a lot easier for me to cross Pilgrim Road. There's a sign for Germantown as well, entering Germantown. It was a lot easier for me to cross a not-so-busy Pilgrim Road to get to a store than to go to the store at that mall across Mequon Road. So I'd ride my bike over here to the PDQ. Marco's Pizza has been here since I lived here, and it is still in operation to this day. Also on the other side of this building here is a gas station on the corner. Used to frequent that gas station as well too on my bike. Get my dad a pack of cigarettes, see if they had any new Garbage Pail Kids on the counter. But right across that street there, right across that street is Menominee Falls. So when I say they're like right next door to each other, they're right next door to each other. But this, riding my bike over here, was a little bit more of a trek from that townhome than it was to say across Mequon Road to that shopping center. But it was easier for me to get here. It was a nice little bike ride. Back in the day where you could ride your bike at 6, 7, 8 years of age, older, keep going up, anywhere. And parents didn't give a shit. You could go anywhere and everywhere, hang out with your friends at all hours of the day, just as long as you had a quarter for a payphone, or you had access to a free phone, you had a watch, you knew what time it was, you'd call and check in, be home by a certain time, be home before dark. Shit like that. Otherwise it didn't matter. I would trek my bike all the way down Pilgrim Road here. It's a few miles. At 6 years old, riding a bike down a sidewalk without a care in the world. I only got hit by a car once. I only spilt my shit once. That's it. And Marco's Pizza. Man, the memories. Alright, so I said I had my sights set on something else to eat today, so you're gonna kind of get a food review. Dave's Hot Chicken, the first location in Wisconsin to open Dave's Hot Chicken in Menominee Falls, right next door to Germantown. You know anything about Dave's Hot Chicken? It was created by best friends Dave and Armand, and some guy named Tommy and a Gary. Dave was a chef, trained in Thomas Keller's French laundry organization, and he set out to create the perfect hot chicken by searching, tasting, and frying. He scrounged up $900, put a tiny stand out in East Hollywood parking lot, kept the menu simple, and the rest is history. It has been in rapid expansion for years. It has some famous investors, and apparently it's some pretty good shit. So it's been open for about a month. I was gonna do like a grand opening video, but the line was out the door. It's still busy in there. It still looks wall-to-wall crowded. Wait could be about a half an hour, and it's windy. So I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna grab something and come back out to the car and eat it. You're gonna get a food review to end this video. Dave's Hot Chicken. All right, so here we are parked in a remote location of a parking lot in the same vicinity of Dave's Hot Chicken. It took me about, I don't know, 20 minutes, 25 minutes from the time I walked in to the time I got my food. This is what I ordered. Number 3, which is a tender and a slider with some fries. And I also bought myself a large strawberry shake, which is a thick boy with a tiny straw. Kind of makes it hard to get the shake out of it. But I got a spoon in case I need to pop the lid open. My total was $18.52, plus I gave a 15% tip, because why not? So $21.17 for this meal. Now, this is what I wanted to do. They got 7 different heat levels, ranging from no spice up to Reaper. So I wanted to get this tender, which is pretty thick. It's a huge fucking tender. I wouldn't even call it a tender. It's a slab of chicken. I wanted to get this thing in Reaper, because you know me, I like that kind of shit. However, they wanted me to sign a waiver to get Reaper. I wasn't about to sign a waiver. I didn't know it was that fucking serious that I'd have to sign a waiver. So this is the very hot, one step below. And then the slider, this is their slider. It's falling apart on me. It's got kale slaw on it, pickles, Dave's hot sauce on a small little bun. This, I got mild. So, I haven't had legitimate hot chicken. Oh, there's also a slice of bread for the slider. And they also gave me some honey and this Dave sauce. I don't know what Dave sauce is. Doesn't say what it is. And I just picked up that tender and my hands are greasy. People are using this parking lot of a closed on Sundays Cafe Zupas to walk through, and some other car just like parked, not even a parking space, they're just parked. Fries, wow. These are some good fries. I'm not like a fry person. I don't know what seasoning that is, but that's pretty good. So, I'm gonna try a little of this. Here comes another car, just randomly parking here. I thought no matter where I go today, somebody's trying to impede me. It's like a mayonnaise-based sauce. I can't explain it. It's not bad. It's not bad. So I'm going to take the tender. I'm going to take a bite out of the tender as it is first. See just how hot this tender is. I heard that the very hot is pretty fucking hot. We'll be the judge of that. That was a solid piece of chicken. Man, that's got some nice flavor. Oh, yep. It's pretty fucking hot. Woo! They weren't kidding about probably needing to sign a waiver for that Reaper. Holy shit. This is some kicked up fucking chicken. So, damn. There goes one of the cars. The other car is still just sitting in one of the thoroughways of the parking lot. It's not even in a parking space. I don't know what they're doing. No license plate. Now they're moving. Thank God I got this milkshake. Fuck. The very hot's pretty hot. Now I was worried. That's why I got my slider mild. That the heat would take away from the flavor, but no. No, it's got some good flavor. Man, this place could be pretty addicting. I'm not like the biggest honey fan. I'm going to put some of this Dave sauce on here. See what it tastes like with the sauce. The sauce definitely drives the flavor profile up very nicely, but it doesn't need it. It definitely doesn't need it, but I've never had a sauce like this before. I might have to just eat the fucking sandwich, because holy shit. Pickle. I'll give you a side of pickles, because that's how real hot chicken should be served. I haven't had real hot chicken. I've had places try to make hot chicken, but after just reading what real hot chicken's like, I knew I was eating shit for hot chicken. Places serving hot chicken without fucking pickles, that's just a crime. Where have you been all my life? Holy shit. This place is no joke. It's no wonder it's so popular. Look at all that grease getting on my napkin. No wonder why it's so popular that, like, there's some famous people that got some money into it. This is no joke. I'm gonna put a little honey on there, because, you know, you gotta try it all ways, all the different ways. Even though I'm not much of a honey fan, put a little bit of honey on there. Damn. It's even better with the fucking honey. Holy shit. But I'm gonna stop eating the tender. I'm gonna try the slider now with the kale slaw on it and some. This is a messy affair, people. Very messy. Whew. My nose and my taste buds are running away. Fuck. All right, so here's the slider mild. Kale slaw, pickles, and Dave sauce on it going in. This place knows what they're doing, man. Shit. Oh. I almost feel like they gave me a very hot slider too. Whew. Man, that's got some heat. Fuck. Anyway, I don't know if you guys got a Dave's hot chicken out by you, but if you do and you haven't gone, fucking check this shit out. I don't think I can go back to regular chicken. Even the mild got like a fucking kick. Holy shit. Guys, Dave's hot chicken's where it's at, man. I'm hooked. I'm hooked. Well, that's gonna do it for today. Can't get enough of that shakeout fast enough. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new here. Share with your friends. Leave a comment down below on anything I talk about today. Share some stuff. give me some ideas, maybe some things you'd like to see me do. But I've got some big things in the works. I'm just hoping that I get permission to do these big things. And I hope I can share them with you sometime. So that's going to do it. I'll see you guys later on the next episode of the PMG Project. Dave's Hot Chicken.